Alright guys, in this video I'm going to teach you how to divide fractions, so please make sure you pay attention to the following. Alright, so before I teach you how to divide fractions, I want to make sense of the numbers here. So I'm going to give you two examples. Let's say that I ask you, what is half of 6? Alright, so if I ask you half of 6, you're going to say, oh, well, it's 3. Now, what if I ask you, how did you get that number? How did you know it was 3? What did you do? What operation did you do in your head? Most kids would say, well, I did 6 divided by, not by 3. I did 6 divided by 2, which gave me 3. Now, I'm a visual person. I like to draw pictures and, so you can see it better. All right, so you have a total, let's say, of $6, right? And if I'm going to give you half of it, I'm going to cut it into 2 equal parts. And how much is in each part? You have $3, $6, which gives you a total of 6. And if I'm going to give you 1 out of the 2, I'm going to give you this part, right? Which is equivalent to $3. All right, now let's write another example. What if I ask you what's 1/3 of $12? Well, you would say, oh, well, the answer is 4. How did you do that? What did you do in your head? Well, you would say 12 divided by 3, because you're cutting into 3 equal pieces, will give you 4. Now, let's draw the picture to represent that. This time, you have $12, and I ask you what's 1/3 of it. So you're going to cut it into 3 equal pieces. How much is in each piece? 4, 8, 12. And I'm going to give you 1/3 of my $12, which means I'm only going to give you this part, which means I'll give you $4, which is right here. All right, so hopefully you understood that. Now let's look at these two tables. I'm going to erase this so you can focus on the tables. If I ask you for before I do that, rewind, I'm going to discuss what does it mean, and I discussed this in the other video on multiplying fractions. What does it mean when you have a number of another number? A number of another number means you're going to multiply. 12 of 1/3, I'm going to multiply. All right, so now let's talk about the table. Look at the table and see what two similarities they have. Well, look at the term here. The term, which means the number, I have 6 and 12. The term on my second table is 6 and 12 as well. Look at the output. It's 3 and 4. The output on this table is also 3 and 4. The difference, guys, lies right here in the input. Okay, now pay attention. Here on this side, we are we're dividing by 2 and dividing by 3. On this side, we're multiplying by 1/2 and 1/3. So most kids would say, well, the left side has whole numbers, the right has fractions, and another difference is that we're doing different operations. Well, you're right. Let's convert this into a fraction. How do I make 2 wholes look like a fraction? Put it over 1. How do I make 3 wholes look like a fraction? Put it over 1. Now pay attention. What happened to my fractions from this table to that table? Look at the fractions. They flipped, didn't they? It's 2 over 1, 1 over 2, 3 over 1, 1 over 3. So they flipped. That is called the reciprocal, boys and girls, the reciprocal. So now I'm going to use the same numbers, and I'm going to use it as a fraction. Hopefully you see what I'm trying to get to. All right, let's focus here. What I did was I did 6 divided by 2 equals 3. That was the original problem. And on this side, on the right table, I did 6 times 1/2 equals 3. All right, so when you're dividing fractions, what you're going to do is you're always going to keep the first number, just like we did here. We kept it. Look at this. We're keeping it. We're going to change from division to multiplication. and we're going to flip the second number. 2 over 1 became 1 over 2. And guess what, guys? In the end, you're still going to get the same answer. So if you keep, change, flip, you're going to get the same answer. Now, let's make them look like fractions first. I want everything to look like a fraction. 6 over 1. If it's a whole number, put it over 1. 2 over 1. 3 over 1. Guys, it still says 6 divided by 2 equals 3, except I'm making them look like fractions. All right, now that they're fractions, I'm going to go ahead and keep, change, flip. All right, let's keep the first number, 6 over 1. Change from division to multiplication. Flip from 2 over 1, which is the reciprocal, to 1/2. And now let's multiply. What's 6 times 1? 6. What's 1 times 2? 2. All right? Great job. But here's the thing. We said our answer had to be 3 wholes. Well, look at your fraction here. What kind of fraction is that? That's an improper fraction. The little guy is carrying the big guy. Don't ever do that. Make sure the little guy doesn't carry more than he needs to. So how do we fix the problem? We divide. Numerator starts with an N. It goes on the inside. Denominator goes on the outside. All right, 2 can go into 6 3 times, and we're done. There is my final answer. So guys, if you keep, change, and flip, you will still get the same answer. Now let's begin our fractions. All right, here I have 3/4 divided by 1/3. This is a fraction, check. This is a fraction, check. Once they're fractions, then you can start keeping, changing, flipping. Remember that rule, guys. They must first look like fractions. And the title of this is called Dividing Fractions. It's not called dividing mixed numbers. It's not called dividing whole numbers. All right, so now we're ready. Anytime you're dividing fractions, you're going to keep, change, flip. All right, I like to stay organized. All right, 3/4. We're going to keep that. We're going to change this division to multiplication, and we're going to flip this. The reciprocal is 3 over 1. Now that you've turned it into multiplication, go ahead and multiply. 3 times 3 is 9. 4 times 1 is 4. Now, if you did this, great job. However, look at your final answer. The little guy is carrying the big guy. Don't do that. What do you do when the little guy is carrying the big guy? You divide. Numerator starts with an N. It goes on the inside. Denominator on the outside. All right, now let's divide. 4 can go into 9. 2 times. 4 times 2 is 8. I have 1 left. Now, guys, most kids are going to want to put decimals. That is awesome, and it's great. However, remember, we're dealing with fractions. So all my numbers have to look like fractions. So if I have 1 left, think about it. I have 1 out of 4 left. Bring your denominator and go all around the world. So your final answer, guys, is 2 1/4. Now, again, I know this video may be kind of long, but I like to explain things. Your first answer was 9 over 4. But when you fixed it, because it was an improper fraction, it became 2 1/4. Well, guys, these two are equivalent. But remember, here 4 was carrying the 9. That was way too much weight. Here, 4 is carrying 1. That's so much better. Let's check our work. What's 2 times 4? 8. What's 8 plus 1? 9. 9 over 4. So see, it's still the same answer. We just fixed our improper fraction. All right, here is another example. Let's go ahead and try this. Let's check our numbers first. Fraction, check. Fraction, check. Because they're both fractions, we're ready to move on. But remember, look at this. We're dividing fractions. So what are we going to do? Anytime you divide fractions, you're going to keep it, change it, flip it. All right, keep your first number, 1/2. Change division to multiplication. Flip your second number, which is your reciprocal. Flip it to 2 over 1. All right, let's multiply. 1 times 2 is 2. 2 times 1 is 2. What is 2 over 2? That's 1 whole. That's your answer. Let's try something else. Let's go ahead and put mixed numbers into this. All right, guys, here we have 2 1/3 divided by 1/4. Fraction, check. Mixed number, ooh, nope, I cannot work with this. We said we're going to divide fractions, not mixed numbers, not whole numbers. So what we're going to do first is convert this, this mixed number into an improper fraction. Let's go. What's 2 times 3? 6. What's 6 plus 1? 7/3 divided by 1/4. Guys, I cannot stress this enough. You cannot keep, change, flip anything until they first look like fractions. This is a fraction, check. Fraction, check. Now we can keep it, change it, flip it. All right, let's go. 7/3 stays the same. We're going to keep it. We're going to change division to multiplication, and we're going to flip, or the reciprocal of 1/4 is 4/1. All right, let's go. 7 times 4 is 28. 3 times 1 is 3. Great job. Now look at your final answer. It is an improper fraction. The little guy is carrying the big guy. What do we do to help him? We divide. Numerator starts with an N. It goes on the inside. Denominator on the outside. 3 can go into 2, 0. 3 can go into 28. 9 times. I have 1 left. I have 1 out of 3. Remember your denominator? So here it is. So 1 out of 3, and bring it all around the world. So guys, your final answer is 9 1/3. Now, yes, some of you are like, whoa, this is a lot of work. But guys, it is not hard work. It's pretty easy stuff. Let's try another one. All right, here I have 5 divided by 1/8. So I have a fraction here, check. I have a whole number here. I cannot work. Remember, I'm not going to keep, change, flip anything until they look like fractions first. So what I'm going to do is make 5 look like a fraction by putting it over 1. And it's still 5 wholes. All right, now that they're fractions, okay, 5/1 divided by 1/8. Now that they're fractions, I'm going to go ahead and keep, change, flip. Remember, guys, we keep, change, flip only when we're dividing fractions. Keep the first number, 5/1. Change division to multiplication. Flip 1/8 into 8/1. That's a reciprocal. Now that you have this, we can multiply across. 5 times 8 is 40. 1 times 1 is 1. All right, guys, great job. Once again, you have an improper fraction. This one is very, very easy. What is 40 divided by 1? 40. All right, now that we've done the basics, I'm going to go ahead and show you a few word problems. Now, guys, I do have to give the credit to a company called IXL.com. They are pretty awesome. They have a lot of questions that relate to 6th grade math. Very, very good questions. So I got these from there in case you want to Google it and try a few more. All right, so here it says a cookie factory uses 2 bags of flour in each means one, in each one batch of cookies. Okay, so let's say here's 1 batch of cookie. To make 1 batch of cookies, I need 2 bags of flour. Here's another batch of cookies. How many bags of flour does it need? 2 bags of flour. Do you understand what's happening here? All right, now the factory used 5.5 bags of flour yesterday. How many batches of cookies did the factory make? I don't know how many batches. I know it had to be more than 2 batches, but how many? All right, so what I'm going to do is, obviously here, we know we need to divide. All right, so to make 1 batch, I need 2 bags. Here, it tells me I used 5.5 bags of flour yesterday. So I'm going to divide my total. 5 1/2 divided by 2. Sorry guys, that looks so ugly. Let me rewrite it. Divided by 2. All right, so in this case, I have a mixed number and a whole number. So I'm not going to keep, change, flip anything until they look like fractions. 5 times 2 is 10. 10 plus 1 is 11 over 2. Divided by, how do we make a whole number look like a fraction? Put it over 1. All right. Now let's check our numbers. Fraction, check. Fraction, check. Now we can keep it, change it, flip it. All right, let's keep our first number, 11 over 2. Change this division to multiplication and flip 2 over 1. What's the reciprocal? 1/2. Now let's multiply. 11 times 1 is 11. 2 times 2 is 4. All right, good job. Here's your answer. However, it is an improper fraction. The little guy is carrying the big guy. What do? We divide. Numerator starts with an N. It goes on the inside. Denominator on the outside. All right, so 4 can go into 1, 0. 4 can go into 11, 2 times. 4 times 2 is 8. And I'm going to have 3 left out of 4. So we're going to go around the world. Sorry. That should be a 3. And this right here, my friends, is the final answer. Because now the numerator is smaller than the denominator. That's good. The 4 can carry the 3. Let's try one more. Once again, this is also from iExcel. They have some pretty awesome questions on there. All right, a road repair crew spread 5/8 of a ton of gravel evenly over 5 feet of road. How many tons of gravel did they spread on 1 foot of road? Now guys, obviously we're spreading gravel evenly. That means we're dividing, we're splitting, we're separating gravel evenly. So I know I'm going to divide in this problem. However, I do want to talk about a misconception a lot of students have. A lot of students think, all right, so here's my 5/8 ton of gravel. And here I have 5, which represents the feet of road. All right, guys, so kids think for some reason that the biggest number always goes first. Some kids would write 5 divided by 5/8. And that would be wrong. Guys, the way you need to think about it is always discuss. Think it out. What are you cutting? What are you separating? What are you dividing? In this case, you are not going to separate the feet of road. You're not going to spread that. What you're going to spread, to separate, to divide is the gravel, right? So whatever you're cutting, splitting, or separating, that number is always going to come first. Whatever you're dividing, splitting, separating, or cutting will come first. So because you're spreading the gravel, that number needs to come first. And it should look like this instead. Does that make sense? The largest number does not necessarily always come first. All right, so let's go ahead and begin. Now that we know how to do it correctly, we're going to divide 5/8. We're going to divide the gravel by 5. Fraction, check. Whole number, ooh. Before I keep, change, flip anything, it must look like a fraction. How do I make it look like a fraction? By putting it over 1. Now that it looks like a fraction, let me rewrite it. Now that they look like fractions, because I'm dividing, I can keep it, change it, flip it. All right, let's go. Let's keep the first number, 5/8. Change division to multiplication. Flip the reciprocal, which would be 1/5. 5 times 1 is 5. 8 times 5 is 40. Oh, well, look, Miss Benjamin, the denominator isn't carrying too much. You see the 40? Can he carry 5? Yes, that's great. However, you still got to look at your answer. can we simplify? Well, let's look at the 5 and the 40. What are they both divisible by? Well, they're both divisible by 5. 5 divided by 5 is 1. 40 divided by 5 is 8. This is my final answer. Now, if you got 540s and you stop there, good for you. There's nothing wrong with it. But if we have a test or a quiz, your multiple choice will always, always, always be in simplest form. So keep that in mind, guys. Once again, guys, this question comes from IXL.com. Let's go ahead and try this one. Desmond's Cafe uses 3/10 of a bag of coffee every day. For how many days will 1 1/2 bags of coffee last? Well, here 1 1/2 bags represents my total. They're asking, well, how long will this last? Well, let's think about that. In one day, they use 3/10 of a bag, of one bag. But do I have one bag? No, I have more than that. I have 1 1/2. So in order to figure this out, I need to divide. I need to divide 1 1/2, my total, divided by 3/10 to see how long it'll last. So in this case, guys, the big number does happen to come first. All right, so let me rewrite it in a way in which we can work it out. 1 1/2 divided by 3/10. Fraction, check. Mixed number, ooh, I cannot move. I first have to turn this mixed number into a fraction by going 2 times 1 is 2. 2 plus 1 is 3/2 divided by 3/10. Now that they're both fractions, guys, I can keep it, change it, flip it. Let's keep our first number, 3/2, change this division to multiplication, and flip. 3/10, the reciprocal, is 10/3. Let's multiply. 3 times 10 is 30. 2 times 3 is 6. Great job. But look, the little guy's carrying the big guy. How do we help him? Divide. Numerator starts with an N. It goes on the inside. Denominator on D, outside. All right, 6 can go into 3, 0. 6 can go into 30, 5 times. 6 times 5 is 30. I have 0 left. Is it necessary for me to bring the denominator down in this case when you have 0 out of 6? No, that's not necessary. So my final answer is 5 whole days. So this will last for 5 days. All right, guys, I hope this video helped y'all. Again, always feel free to fast forward, rewind, pause, try some on your own before I finish it. And always email me or, let me know in class what else you need from me. I found this little drawing, which is pretty cool. It says dividing fractions is easy as pie. Flip the second number and multiply. And down here, you have an example. 1/3 divided by 4/5. Flip the second fraction and multiply. So that's pretty much what we were doing, except I don't use that. I use the keep it, change it, flip it. And don't forget, guys, the word wall. Always look at the word wall whenever you have any questions before approaching me, because I know you already know this stuff. Anything you need, let me know. Have an awesome day, guys.